is an actual vault. Dude, how cool.
All right, well, we are in the vault here at Can Monkey, the first official segment of talking about business, talking about everything and anything about business and how we got started. And I appreciate you spearheading this and bringing it to me and being able to use our headquarters here at Can Monkey, this vault.
This place is awesome.
Thank you.
This is like an actual bank vault, which we're sitting in, and was an original Bank of Tempe.
Yeah, it was the first bank of Tempe. It's actually a historic building.
Wow.
You can see it out in front, one of those little signs.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's actually a small world, but it was actually serviced from Canton, Ohio, which my mom was born at. Like, what are the chances? So
Nice,
big thing about,
nice.
I'm a big believer in the universe and how all this stuff just kind of happens in your journey of business. And not that the Vault has anything to do with Can Monkey in the business, but just seeing the Canton, Ohio from 1936 was the last year of service. Just kind of
Wow.
cool that I have ties from that small town, and excited to kind of talk about Can Monkey and the journey and well and good in your journey, and kind of seeing you and you kind of see me from the beginning, and
Man,
see where we're both at now is really, really awesome to both of us. But it's all our dream and the vision coming into place.
Yes, it has to start with some sort of a vision, no matter who's doing what, whether you're starting a bank back in the 1800s or you're starting a servicing company in the 2000s. So yeah, what was it like when the vision kind of starts happening, and maybe even early days of Can Monkey? We know it now as this large nationwide company, but tell us about the early days.
I think really luckily I had that ignorance is bliss kind of mindset about Can Monkey. Of course, I wanted it to be successful, but I didn't realize the actual magnitude of the vacation rental industry. We were really looking at it just from a Scottsdale, Arizona thought process. Okay, these individuals here would love this service. They probably need it. They travel. I kind of knew the demographics. I grew up here. Was really just thinking about Scottsdale and really just seeing how we could conquer the homeowner side of this weekly tedious task that they probably needed this service. They just didn't know that it existed. And when the pandemic happened and the world changed, that really opened up my eyes for this whole industry of vacation rental. And that's when the business really kind of took off from a side hustle to kind of growing into a startup, to where now I feel like we are a corporation, business aspect. But in the beginning, it was just like a side hustle, thinking how can I kind of get this going to make some extra income for my family. My main job was a W-2 in real estate, and that was going to be my job until I was 65. That was my thought process. So this was really all backwards, but to see where we're at now, I did have that vision, and it grew throughout different times, especially when I went all in during the pandemic. But the journey is nothing like a straight line, as you probably know.
Your all in wasn't necessarily on day one.
No.
It was after some of this, the wheels started going, and you're like, oh, this could really be a real thing.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Like, I was not the CEO. I was not the co-founder. At the very beginning, I was just an investor.
Yeah.
And I was just an investor that was like, okay, hey, I'll help with getting some of the sales going, and here's some capital, keep the lights going on. And then I kind of turned into a co-founder. Then I turned into the CEO. At one point I was like, I got to call myself something besides the owner. So CEO sounds good. And that was kind of weird, but I kind of stumbled into that as well. Always knew I wanted to be a position in that aspect, but didn't think that it'd be from taking trash cans to the curb and back.
Tell me about like maybe a super scary moment in those early days, like whether it's for you personally or for the company as a whole, something that was terrifying.
The pandemic was, very scary. At that point, we had just got over 300 properties, and which was a huge deal for us at the time.
Yeah.
A majority of that actually came from one large client, which kind of really opened up our eyes. Turnkey, who is no longer, they got bought up by Vacasa. And right after we got those properties, we lost them. And so we were like, okay, we're done. Even started pivoting into Pool Monkey and started doing some other things, thinking like how are we going to kind of recreate this revenue that we just lost. But slowly right after, the properties started coming back on, and the pandemic actually was a big blessing for our business. Individuals not really wanting to go out, getting scared of a virus. They were looking to just stay in, and our service was really helping them in that aspect. That was very scary, and there's been scary times along the way of just kind of keeping the doors open. When you're a business that is a service business where we're not like a SaaS. We're not just building something and just being able to collect a lot of money. It's like we're building something and also paying out. We're building something and paying out. And so going from this little side hustle to now a big business that has a lot of moving parts.
Well, you're saying that the bigger you get, you don't just print money? Is that what you're saying?
No, the bigger you get.
I thought that's what it was.
You know, we thought
everybody always told us it'd be easy, right?
It's funny because we always thought, okay, when we hit this number,
Yeah.
then we got
all
it.
the problems
oh,
go
we
away.
hit this number, now we got it. And at the top of every mountain is the beginning of the next mountain.
Yeah.
And it's you don't even know the problems that you're going to have until you reach the top of that mountain. So you're over here cheering, and then it's also like slap in the face. Like now, it's breaking, but in a good way. You can kind of figure out the solutions to fix those problems.
Yeah, if you want to be humbled, start a business. You know, it sure makes all your misconceptions about how easy things are totally shift. Yeah.
And from my perspective, I look at other businesses now, like your business, and I think from mine, I hear people will say the can was not placed 5 feet apart, or it wasn't placed at the fence, and I'm like kind of like, oh my gosh, I got it back on time. I think from a position like yours in the service where people are, it's not just your clients are judging you, but it could be the actual people staying in, like
The guests.
The guests, like people in there looking for perfection. I mean, the fact that you're turning over thousands of, like, how do you sleep at night knowing that your systems are good? Because I look at businesses now in a whole different view. Being a business owner, I never really looked at businesses like that. And now every business I look, and especially this business like yours, where you're getting under the magnifying glass more than probably any other business.
Well, it's unique. When I had the idea of starting Well and Good, it was to solve a problem that I was experiencing as a host. And so I have a short-term rental and I'm experiencing all these problems, and I just knew that they were difficult problems to solve. Like, I kind of went into it knowing this is going to be insanely hard, but somebody has to do it. Like, there has to be an organization that obsesses over the particular portion of turnovers within this whole industry that was exploding in essence. And so I kind of went into it knowing that sleep was going to be a little hard. I went into it knowing that this is going to be all in and probably a stressor, added. But the upside of like, well, we could actually help shape an industry that really desperately needed confidence. And so, going into it at the start, I mean, man, it was the whole thing was terrifying, honestly. I remember trying to figure out our first client after, like, who were we going to? We had 30 properties to start here in Scottsdale, and it was this original manager that was awesome and still great partner of ours. Then we were kind of thinking that we were going to go on Airbnb and send DMs to all the hosts and managers telling them about our service, and that they would all just sign up for Well and Good. Of course, why wouldn't they? We didn't even realize you can't even message people on Airbnb. You can't market that way. And so I remember sitting there with our 30 and being like, how in the world is anybody ever going to know about us? And like, what, just that like terrifying aspect of things. But now that we've seen, a little bit of the word spread about what we do, it's starting to become a little bit more of like, okay, I'm not saying I sleep easy at night, but I am realizing like we're finding solutions. Like we're actually finding solutions for hosts to have confidence, for guests to have a level of confidence. I just want to be able to get to a point where it's the same way that you feel when you're staying at a short-term rental as you would feel if you're staying in a Hilton. It's not saying it's always perfect, but there's at least a process. There's at least a standard that was actually gone through here, and that alone gives a level of confidence. And it also gives a level of confidence to the people that are doing the work, that there is some sort of a process rather than them just trying to go in and make magic happen, in the home. It's more like, okay, I'm going in there to perform my part of this role, knowing that there's an organization who's doing their part too. So I'm definitely sleeping somewhat better at night. I don't know. And in that sense, I found that explaining what we do is a hard thing. Have you had the same thing?
1,000%. I think from our end, from yours, I feel that not that it's cut and dry. There's a lot more idiosyncrasies that go into what you do and service. From ours, it sounds very simple, but they just don't understand because they never heard the service before. So it's like, wait, you do what? You take the trash. It's like such an easy concept. It's like, how do I even explain it? Even like the simple concept, so it's like we really just say automate trash day, and then even that is like, what do you mean automate trash day? you'll never have to take the trash cans to the curb and back. So when we were kind of doing this in the beginning, I came into Cam Monkey, we had 19 properties. So kind of like we were saying, you had the 30. I came in at 19, and we were going after those homeowners. They were like, why do I need a service that I've been doing my whole life? And then that's when I kind of pivoted to the vacation rental industry, because I had some clients from my other job where they were converting their long-term rentals into short-term rentals, and I saw that they understood the pain points. They were actually dealing with this. So that's where it was like, hey, this is the low-hanging fruit, are these vacation rentals, because they understand this problem. Homeowners don't really understand the problem right away because they're already doing it. Unless you get one in the right aspect of they're a traveling business person, they're a stay-at-home mom with kids that just need extra help. Maybe they're the mindset of, hey, I have a landscaper, I have a pool company, I got a Cam Monkey now. But that's a little bit longer of a sales process right away. So you have to let that drip a little bit. Vacation rental was just an easier. So that's when I started pivoting toward that way, and they got the message a lot quicker. And explaining it to a homeowner is a little bit more, even though it's a simple concept, they're like, wait, what? I don't need that. And then they're like, okay, maybe not right now, but just wait. And then they start thinking about it until that moment comes.
Yeah. And if you were to say, whether it's vacation rentals or individual homeowners, what's a misconception that people may have about Can Monkey, that they may have a thought process that you'd like to correct maybe?
At first, it's like people who are on the outside seeing Cam Monkey, they think that whoever would need our service is lazy. And that is the furthest thing from who our actual client base is. It's not these Americans that are lazy, that just are sitting on the couch and don't want to take the trash can to the curb. It's individuals who are elderly, disabled, just can't take it out because they're traveling, not there physically. Or it's on the business side of it, as they're property managers or vacation rental owners that are in strict regulations, or different cities that have different trash ordinances that want to follow the rules. They're looking to outsource this tedious task, to where now we bring this technology aspect to it, where there's verification of photos, where they now know that the service that they're paying, whether they're paying the neighbor next door to do it, or the cleaning company, or a landscaper, maintenance. Now they know it's actually getting done, and now it's not my neighbor said, my guest said, my cleaners say. There's actual photo. And that's the misconception, is that the clients are lazy, but it's really the furthest thing from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the aspects of professional services as a whole. Why do people use professional services? It's not because they can't do these things. It's that they are best served to partner with folks who that is their primary obsession, so that the individuals and the clients can go do what their obsession is, right? And we work with so many hosts and managers that you'd like to be able to give them more opportunity to do what matters most. And for them, it's making sure that they're booking the properties to the right guests and making sure that their guests are having a great experience, much more from the host and the hospitality perspective. When the more they're in the weeds, the less they're able to do those things. And that's whether that's an individual homeowner or a vacation rental. It's the same thing. It's not laziness. It's just smart partnerships.
Yes. Or they're looking at 1,000% right, or they're looking at it as value of their time.
That's right.
What's the time worth? Sometimes if they're not at that property and have to send someone there, maybe they're paying someone $20 an hour, when our costs, sometimes are less than $4 a visit when you look at the whole 16 times a month we're going to a property. So when you really look at that as well, even as a homeowner or a vacation rental, it's really how much time are you saving me?
That's right. And that's where you see companies across the board have been able to, if you can save someone time, you can bring a real value aspect. We could all go shop at the store for the things that are on Amazon, right? Why do we work through Amazon? Because it's going to be just there and it's going to be delivered, and that time aspect is a real savings. We say the same thing. Our hosts and managers, they could go out and source toilet paper, and they could go out and find the soaps, and they could schedule the cleaners. But every bit of that, individualized process that they have to go do is taking away from their time, and we want to give folks their time back. We want to allow them to do what matters most. And yeah, that's what I'm proud of, well and good for a lot of ways, but one of the ways is just that we're allowing folks to focus on what matters most.
And what's your misconception that people think of well and good? Are you have you heard of stuff? Like, what is it before? Then afterwards, they're like, oh wow, I thought something completely different.
Yeah, I think the first misconception with people with Well and Good is they think they have to fire their cleaner in order to work with Well and Good. So it's not the case at all. Oftentimes, the cleaning professional that's in place is a great person, is doing a good job. What that professional could use is the support of Well and Good. And so more now than ever, we're seeing folks understand that they can actually have their cleaners work with Well and Good rather than have to tell the cleaner they've worked with for years, like, hey, sorry, I'm moving to Well and Good. You can no longer work with us.
True.
That's not the case. Well and Good brings on individual cleaners, and that's something that we definitely have seen a misconception starting to turn the page a bit there too. And then I think the other misconception is probably just that, Well and Good is not available to me, and I'll have to figure out just a world without it. Honestly, we're working more and more where it's like, if you are really wanting to get our service, we have a plan to come to your specific location. We have a plan to establish one of our Well and Good locations in your area, and so keeping that persistence, it's much more of a possibility than people think. Yeah.
Are you looking to expand more next year, or is it more when you find the right partners and it makes sense for where you're going, or do you have ideas to where you want to go and then you go and get the clients, or is it more?
We have definitely pipelines of locations that are already in the works, and so most of the time that's with coalitions of hosts that come together and say, hey, we'd really like to have a service, and we found now, man, the folks that are the high-end operators are aligning so much more together. I've been seeing this a lot more, that vacation rental managers and hosts are realizing that their competition is not the folks that are the ones that are crushing it. Their competition they're the ones who don't care. Their actual competition is the random Joe Schmo who throws their property up on Airbnb, has no processes, has no hospitality forward thinking, is not paying their taxes. That's their competition. That's the ones that are giving the reputation, our industry a bad reputation. And so because of that, the high-end operators are aligning together. They're doing it through advocacy oftentimes. They're forming groups to be able to be united and saying, this group of subsect of hosts and managers, we're here for responsible renting, we're here for high-quality services then too. And so that's oftentimes how Well and Good expands, is that we have coalitions of hosts that are already aligned on a lot of things. Servicing is a natural alignment then as well.
That makes sense. And especially when you're being able to bring on their cleaners that want to come into now an organization that's going to be supporting them and helping them get back their time as well, and just giving them the responsibilities, what they want to do.
You have
win-win.
five or 10 hosts and managers that are all fragmented, and they may all have their individual cleaners and they're working with their individual operations. When you can bring that underneath the one roof of Well and Good, the synergies are amazing. Right. It's that you're seeing wins for the cleaners. They're starting to be like, okay, I can now maybe breathe and take a week off every once in a while. And they're also able to lean on each other in terms of best practices. And we are so much better together as an industry. And we're seeing the cream rise to the top when it comes to host and managers so much. And it's awesome to be a part of that with Well and Good, because we found that islands should not exist with high-level operators. Like, whether you're a cleaner, you shouldn't feel like you're on an island, right? You should feel like you're part of a team. And if you're a high-level host or manager, you should feel like you're in lockstep with the high-level operators around you. And really understanding your competition is those that don't care. And we've got to be more vigilant in uniting together for the ones that do.
I like that you're saying that, because I remember a conversation I had with, when we went into the Denver market, we were talking to a company, kind of the same way how you get started is how we get started. We need help with some properties, then we can get the routes going. And we had got reached out by a company that had about 15 properties. We couldn't get started with them. They're like, well, we really need your help. Like, how do we do this? I was like, well, do you know anyone else in your area that is doing the same thing as you that would need our service?
That's right.
And they're like, you mean the competition? I was like, more like collaborators. Like, it's, other people that maybe could help collaborate. And the phone call kind of ended, and I thought I'd never hear from them again. A week later, they called back and said, I got someone else that needs the service too. Can you get started with our 40 properties together? And I said, absolutely. So it's going from, sometimes there is competition, and there's also collaborators that can come together, like you're saying, and do better for the industry as a whole, and better for the community as a whole.
Our competition isn't always what it seems. There's always room at the top. If you've got a group of folks that are at the top, there's plenty of room right there. Let the lowlifes and the folks who are just taking advantage oftentimes of what they consider easy money, they can sit on a different side. But for the folks that are together, it's definitely plenty of room at the top.
Exactly.
So all right, we're here at the HQ of Can Monkey. What is it about Can Monkey that's truly special?
I believe what's special about Can Monkey is now that we have this brand that is recognized in our industry as being consistent and persistent by going on our 6th, 7th year now of Can Monkey. People have now the confidence that there is a service out there, giving even the industry, buzz, knowing that there's other services, doing the same thing. Which, at the end of the day, that's what we really wanted, is to make sure that our industry was in a position to where they had a can to curb service. Didn't have to be from Can Monkey per se, but needed to be where people were getting a service to where they got help with their can to curb service. But with Can Monkey, though, we invested a lot of our money back into our own technology, and I feel honestly that's what separates us from anything else. Whether our biggest competition is the kid next door or whoever our client is currently using, whether it's their maintenance company, the cleaners, that's our biggest competition. And what we have is the application that we built, which we call it transparency. We don't hide anything; it's all right there. And when we talk to these other clients or prospects before they're clients, their biggest thing is that they don't know the job's actually getting done. They're kind of hoping, and no news is good news. And with us, we have it all right there. Our can runners are going to the property, they're taking photos, and that was really built for us as we scaled to make sure that our can runners were doing it for us. And in turn, we realized, hey, our clients would like this. And that's one thing about Can Monkey that no one really else has right now, is that the verification of photos. Knowing that the job is getting done, that if a client calls, a neighbor calls, the city gets them a fine, that they have some kind of proof that the job was done. We've gotten our clients out of erroneous fines. Just having that photo saying, hey, send us your HOA. The can was back at this time. It was behind the gate. Because sometimes with these Airbnbs, these short-term rentals, not all the neighbors are happy. And the easiest way we found for these neighbors to complain is these trash cans. Especially these different ordinances and regulative areas where they know that if the trash can's out at a certain time, they can get in trouble.
They can bust them.
We had a conversation once with GovOS, and they were telling us an example in Sedona that this one property had 200 calls, and really what it was the neighbor next door just calling 20, 30 times a day, complaining about this trash can at the curb, 601, 602, 603, 604.
Wow.
So it wasn't really a trash issue. It was really a Mitch issue, the neighbor next door, that was just more upset that there was an Airbnb.
Wow.
But having the trash can back and at the curb at the right times and having that all documented can really save with different fines and regulations with our clients.
Yeah, I think confidence is such a huge thing to provide. Like, both of our organizations really fundamentally want to provide confidence. So we want to provide confidence to the guest that there's going to be empty cans in your case, or a clean home that you're going to be able to stay at. We want to provide confidence to our clients that this is not something that's going to be on the front of their mind. We want to provide confidence if there ever is an issue that we've got documentation of those things. And yeah, I mean, I think that is really cool. What makes you guys special is some of the transparency that you provide. That's great. That's great.
And with your end of it, with Well and Good, I mean, you're coming into an industry where you kind of already saw that there was a lot of different cleaners out there.
Yeah.
That was actually kind of a good thing. You could kind of, critique. And so what makes you different when you're kind of coming into an industry that already existed, not necessarily how you're doing it, but how that worked for your benefit, or what
makes us special for sure is that Well and Good bundles the three aspects of the turnover service. There was a fragmentation. There was some companies that would provide a cleaner. There were some companies that would provide linens and laundry, and then there were some companies that would provide the amenities. Well and Good takes all of that and takes control of the process and responsibility for the process and holistically. So we work with partners on every side, right? We're working with cleaning partners, we're working with amenity partners, we're working with our laundry partners, but we ultimately are taking that responsibility, and that's what's made it special. And then, I mean, honestly, it sounds cliche, but like, what makes Well and Good special, it's the actual people behind it and the values that we represent. Like, the values of Well and Good are something that every client feels, and every cleaner, when they onboard with us, they recognize that this is a place where excellence wins, and this is a place where our standard is that level of excellence. We're not perfect, we'll be the first to say it, but man, we are going to have a group of people who care. And when you work with folks who care, and when you work with folks who have that joint mission of values and excellence being at the forefront, it changes things. And it's just, that's what we've seen with our organization, is like the folks that work with our organization, whether they're partnered or internal, they feel a bit of like, we're on a mission here, and our mission is to serve well and do good, and for an industry that we really care about.
And I can attest to that, because I remember when I first met you, now 2-3 years ago, how I found out about you was a mutual client who I didn't think was high maintenance, but they wanted things certain ways.
Shout out Sarah Clark. Yeah.
and you were really highly recommended by her. And I was just thinking, if this guy is able to like do a great job with a lot more things to critique than what I have to meet this guy. And I had been asked a lot before if I would do partnerships with cleaners, and I never wanted to, because I was like, I don't want to give an introduction, or I don't want to give a referral to anyone that could make me look bad. And it wasn't just her, it was more that started slowly coming up. I'm like, okay, I got it. And still to this day. So you've had that same mindset since the very beginning, and you kept it going.
Yeah.
Even now at 1,000 properties, I was like at 88 or less than 100, and now where
That's
you're at
right.
now, it's the same thought process, same vision.
The mission is the same, the obsession is still the same, and yeah, I do like working with more, what would we call them, particular clients. I think that it's awesome. Like, if you're a host or a manager who actually cares, sign me up. Right. I would rather work with that party than someone who just doesn't care, and someone who just wants just get it done and cheaper. They don't want to. It's like, hey, you care about this outcome, and yeah, we have a lot of folks that work with both of our companies. And speaking of that, we've got a big announcement that we're going to make. Should we get into the announcement portion of it?
Yes.
All right. So we are both, very committed to the services that we provide for a lot of hosts and managers across the country, and we think that the folks who are using professional services really are the best among operators. So because of that, we wanted to provide a little bit more wins for those folks. And starting in 2025, we are going to be offering a discount to every client that uses both CanMonkey for their trash to curb solutions, as well as Well and Good for their turnover solutions. And what a win for folks who say, hey, that better together is not only great to have best services, but it's actually benefiting on the discount side. So I'm happy to be bundling this service.
Me too. And it's a perfect partnership, especially when these clients that we have that are looking to run a business, looking to outsource these other responsibilities to those who obsess over them, to make sure that their business is running to the fullest extent. So it's a perfect partnership for those who are using CanMonkey but not using Well and Good, that they like our service and benefit from it. They're going to benefit from yours, and vice versa. If you like Well and Good and you're able to do some, it's a great partnership. So I'm really excited about doing this. We've talked about it before. I'm glad to finally put it out there.
Absolutely.
And to do well and good for our industry.
Yeah. So if you're a host or a manager and you're already working with CanMonkey and already working with Well and Good, you're going to be receiving a discount on each service for both sides of this. Yep. If you're someone who is not, I would give you the opportunity, do it now. Get on board to be able to parlay our services and see even more wins with the combination of those two services. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, very cool. I'm curious to hear, beyond the trend of really aligning great services, which is going to be, I think, a big trend for this upcoming year. What else do you think are going to be some trends you're going to see in vacation rentals, or maybe in real estate as a whole this next year?
I unfortunately think that there's going to be some more regulations going in place across the country, but I think that's going to be better for us in the long run. Kind of what you were saying before about the real competition that some of our clients have.
That's right.
Is those bad apples. It's not a bad thing on weeding some of these individuals out who don't want to follow the right rules and implications in place to make us look good, and don't want to ruin it for the majority of us. So I believe that we're going to see more of those. But again, like, some of these regulations in place are trash related, trash cans. I didn't get into CanMonkey for fixing the trash regulation ordinance play, although if that is how this goes about, I'll play that play. So it's nice to know that while these different rules are changing, we're pivoting in the way to where we can help our clients that are still in those markets that maybe need help with following these certain rules and regulations. We're here to help as a partner. I think besides that, I think that we're going to see an uptick in an increase of traveling in the vacation rental industry. I don't think it's going away.
No.
I think I've seen a lot of these partnerships with these, Marriott's and different companies, doing these. One just bought out these cabins up
Yeah, Marriott.
Yeah, it was okay. So
You're stealing the one that I thought was the trend that's coming. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that you're gonna see more of these. I think if these companies that are running real businesses and real brands, I think you're gonna see a lot more of these collaborations to where, as much as I get points at the Hilton and Marriott, I'll get points at staying at Airbnb along with the Hilton Marriott. So maybe I can book a place for my family of 6 and use some different points for it.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna see a lot more of those as well.
Couldn't agree more. I think what Marriott's doing to enter into the vacation rental space is a total trend, and we're seeing them with homes and villas as well as now acquisitions of the cabins, and just they are basically saying like this is a coexisting form of travel, and I love that because those folks that stay are going to expect a hotel level experience. They're going to want real laundry that was laundered off site. They're going to want to make sure there's soaps in there that are right and high quality, and so we're happy to help there. I think another trend we're going to see in 2025 is just, you mentioned a little bit of it, but it's the gathering of the folks who are doing it the right way, and they're going to find that this is huge to band together. Whether those are groups that are aligned on service partners or they're aligned on advocacy groups. You see groups like 100 Collection. You see all these different ways of really starting to separate the cream rising to the top, the folks who are doing it right. And yes, it does include removing of bad actors. I think it's important that our industry takes that on, and that we are doing that internally just as much as having external forces do that. So I'm proud of the industry's steps. This has been a year in 2024 that really, I think, laid groundwork for excellence to be rising even more so. So yeah, definitely.
You see it probably more with Rent Responsibly, as you're big in that organization, and you probably see a lot more of this. You were just in Sedona, so you probably see a lot more of this on our end, but you can probably see where it can go into other markets as well.
Undoubtedly, I think the rise of Rent Responsibly is going to be huge. I think that it's going to be, you're really aligned with a statewide group, and just like a real estate agent, they have their national group of realtors, and like if you're a real estate agent, you're part of these organizations to validate what you're doing, and that's the same kind of thing that we need for vacation rentals. Is if you're just on an island, just throwing up your home like I talked about, that is not necessarily good for our industry as a whole. And so more alignment of those that are in this for the right reasons and in this to really bring wins is a huge thing. And we're starting to see that. I think 2025 is going to bring a lot more.
No, and you're right. When I do stay at hotels, there's a level of expectation that I'm looking for. Yeah. It'd be nice knowing that if I was staying at Airbnb, that I'm getting the well and good certification,
That's
knowing
right.
that you serviced it. I feel the same way with Sojo when I've stayed at Airbnbs and I see that their brand is in the soap. I just know that level of client or that manager who's hosting that property takes a little bit more care if they're partnering with individuals.
Isn't that so it? If you tell me something about the host or the manager's partnerships, I'll tell you a lot about the host or the manager, right? You know that if a host or manager is using CanMonkey and is partnered with Well and Good, you know that they care a lot about how the guest is treated and making sure that the guest has an experience that's not laborious to them, but actually gets to be relaxing. Like what a concept, right? They're supposed to be on vacation. And so yeah, we found something that the homes that we service are outperforming the market by a lot. And they're outperforming in daily rates, on nights booked, and all this stuff. And it's not because of Well and Good. It's because of the host and managers that are using and partnering with Well and Good. They are ones who are really, really good at what they do. And because of that, they want to partner with folks who are also really good at what they do. And look at how that, again, shows the rising. So more data to come out on that soon, but it's really cool to see that alignment brings excellence, no doubt.
And I think that you're right. The level of clients that we do have, they are at a higher level. Not all, but but they just want to outsource these to the people who are experts at it. And knowing that you're an expert taking care of 3 major aspects inside their house is probably lets them sleep well at night.
It does.
So that's probably that's where I've heard about our business as well. It's like, look, I had 4 different people doing it, I'd rather just it be one. And just knowing that it's all just taken care of.
I heard somebody say, you get to make one decision that makes all of your decisions. And so, when you're talking about cans to curb, would they make every week they have to make a decision. Who's running the can to the curb? How are we getting it done? All these decisions that are continual. Whereas if they choose Can Monkey, they make one decision in choosing Can Monkey, and then that then makes the decisions for the rest of that relationship. And that's kind of the same way we feel. Like there's always decisions of who's going to be doing the cleans and how are we going to get the linens done and who's sourcing the inventory. Well and good, one decision can make all of those decisions for you, and it certainly is a better way.
Yeah, that's a lot easier.
Yes.
Especially when these clients have 30 plus properties, and
Yeah.
you just times all that by 30. And
That's right.
it's insane.
Well, it's been a pleasure being in the vault.
Yes,
this is really cool.
I appreciate you coming and being the first one in here and showcasing it. And I think we had a lot of great information that we were sharing today and putting out there that I know that we're not alone with these thoughts of how we want our industry to be and be better, because we do surround ourselves with like-minded individuals in this industry, and we're all looking to rise to the top together. And that's where I really follow I ride your coattails on that. You do a great job on the Rent Responsibly and doing a great job of being a great leader for our industry. So thank you for what you do and bringing a level of excellence for everyone else.
I'm honored to be here. Thanks, Alex.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. And just a reminder, if you are a host or a manager, working with Can Monkey and working with Well and Good now brings you a discount on both services. So literally seeing every turnover, every month on your side, a reduction of the rate by the partnering of working with Can Monkey and Well and Good. What a win.
What a win. This now helps you guys look into the future, save a little bit on your P&L, know that you guys are getting something back from your partners who are always there for you and your clients, and just creating a win-win-win for all. And we couldn't do it without you guys.
Let's see the best operators align with great servicers and watch as we all continue to find those wins. Can't wait.